Hey guys, it's Leanne from Healthful Pursuit, and this is another mini-sode of the Keto Diet Podcast. Today's mini-sode is made possible by all of our amazing patrons on Patreon. If you haven't already checked out our exclusive club of patrons, you can head on over to healthfulpursuit.com/community, where I'm sharing a bunch of awesome things that nobody else gets but our patrons. Pretty awesome stuff. You can grab the podcast extras, including the transcript, by going to healthfulpursuit.com/podcast/X9. And don't forget that every Sunday we have other podcast episodes where I interview a guest, and it's always a good time. Today I want to chat with you guys about feelings. Yeah. And thoughts of those feelings. And I posted a quote image. I've been handwriting quote images on Instagram. If you don't already follow me, you should. It's Healthful Pursuit. We'll include a link in the show notes. And this quote image, so I wrote it down on a piece of paper, took a picture of it, uploaded it, and it says, "Hey girl, don't believe everything you think." And the caption read, "Remember, not everything we think is true. I have to remind myself of this constantly. Try it. Take a step back, observe your thoughts. Just because you think them doesn't make them true." And then I asked you guys, what thoughts have popped into your head today that you don't want to own? So I wanted to read some of these vulnerable posts that you guys wrote back. I think that there is such power in community, and oftentimes, especially with social media postings, sometimes we don't get to really take a moment to feel how other people are feeling and to put ourselves in their shoes. And I think it can be such a powerful experience to see the world from somebody else's viewpoint and see that so many of us have a different way of interpreting the same quote. And I think that that's so fun. So MC Madsen says, "Feelings aren't facts." And my response is, it's such a fine line between honoring your feelings and getting overwhelmed by them. I've had to learn to ask myself where the feeling is coming from, and that usually helps me process. So I totally agree that feelings aren't facts. It is really a fine line between how am I feeling and what is true and what is not, what's reality. And I think observing your thoughts is really helpful for that. Then Ellen Fox writes, "Every day I look into the mirror and say to myself that I'm fat. I know it's not true, but it's so hard to convince your mind." And I said, changing that self-talk is definitely work. What are some things that you love about yourself? And then Ellen wrote back, "I'm trying to change that negative self-talk, but it's really hard. I used to love my hair before an eating disorder that she experienced because it was really beautiful, long and thick. Nothing of it left now. But I started keto at the end of February, basically thanks to you because I accidentally found your amazing podcast. Thanks for everything. So I hope it will help me to get through the healing process. I believe that." Then Chef Sandy Hall wrote, "I woke up focused on the negative and using words like always." So this is a good reminder. And I agree, always is a really strong word. And we've got to be mindful how we use it. Always, should, could. Could is now a little bit gray, but should is like, if you're using the word should, assess yourself. Celtic Sarah says, "I agree and disagree with this. I understand that maybe not all the thoughts we have are true, but the emotions are definitely valid. To reflect on them, embrace them, then gently release them is what I've found to work for me. From there, we can hopefully learn a different perspective of ourselves and the situations around us that can often alter the thoughts we have." And I totally agree. And it's interesting because in the quote, it says, "Don't believe everything you think." And everything really means don't believe everything you think, meaning like not everything will apply, not everything won't apply. So there's really that gray area. And I totally agree that the thoughts we have are true and the emotions are definitely valid. In fact, I've been thinking a lot about emotions lately, and research is showing that emotions are actually a learned process and not something that we are born with. So for example, say a baby never sees the emotion happiness. when they are older, say in their 30s, when they see happiness, it will just look blank to them. Now, the same sort of research can be done with colors. If somebody, has a corneal transplant and has gone years without being able to see, it will take them months, sometimes even years, to conceptualize exactly what they're looking at. Because if they've never seen a potted plant, when they see that thing, they don't know what that is. So they just see a blurry mess. They don't know what that is, so they don't see it. And so this is quite mind-blowing when you look at this research that these universities, I think it was 2 university papers I just referenced that I read last week. Feelings are a taught experience. And so I often find that I display feelings and circumstances that I learned from my parents. Just certain things, we grew up with very little money, especially when we were little. And so when there's a difficult time, I revert back to, there's not enough, because that's what I learned. And it's so deeply ingrained in it. It's a very complicated topic. There were other notes, such as one from the map, wise words, those voices in my head try to make me less happy sometimes. And Generations Photo by Heidi said, I am always overthinking things and it messes with my mind so bad. And I wanted to read some of these to really get you guys in the zone, to know that you're really not alone and feeling the same things. Ketogenic Girl, my friend Vanessa, says, been loving The Untethered Soul, a must read, all about this and mindfully observing thoughts instead of identifying with them. And I totally agree. Mindfully observing those and asking yourself, why am I feeling this? Like observe. And lastly, Joy Smith said, for me, that all my issues is because I'm overweight and ugly or not smart or good enough for anybody. And that is such a hurtful comment that we can continue, and that story we can continue to play off in our heads. Joy, I hope that you're listening to this episode and you know that you are so much more than a body and you're destined to do amazing things. And yeah, I've never met you, but I really, really feel like every single person on this planet has a role to play. So I hope that was helpful in maybe giving you some, like a little homework assignment this week. Next time you are thinking something, instead of associating yourself with it, take a step back, observe it, and see how that influences how you feel about it. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. Join us again next Sunday to discover more Keto for Women secrets for your fat-fueled life. The Keto Diet Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be confused as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Keto Diet podcasts reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representations or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice, and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.